Good evening. Today, on a very spooky episode, we're going to talk about monsters. No, not those made-up creatures from Mary Shelley, Robert Louis Stevenson, or the Duffer Brothers. Real monsters, found among us, in us. And no one really knows how they get there. Is it witchcraft? The work of
the devil?
Let's talk about the hair-raising science of teratomas. Teratomas are a strange kind of tumor. Now, a lot of tumors are scary, but these are just bizarre. Creepy. The word teratoma is actually from a Greek word meaning monster. These spooky specimens often contain hair, skin, bone fragments, teeth. Some even have legs and feet, partially formed eyes, rudimentary beating hearts, even tiny skulls and brains. But why? Why are these ghoulishly grotesque growths so dreadfully different? So particularly petrifying? Some people think that teratomas are malformed fetuses or the result of incomplete twinning, like an evil twin. While that may be a more satisfying answer than the horror of spontaneous tooth formation, that's not what's happening here. What you're thinking of is a thing, but it's a different thing, called a fetus-in-fetu. Well, that's really what it's called. Could not make that up. In infants, it can be hard to make the distinction. But suffice it to say, any grown adults watching this, you cannot suddenly generate a parasitic twin. Or can you? No, you can't. Let's be clear as a ghost. What we're talking about today are spontaneously generated growths, not a product of sexual reproduction. As with many tumors, we don't completely understand what causes these psychotic cells to make like Frankenstein and take on a life of their own. But we do know that their terrifying ability to grow their own body parts is because they come from cells called germ cells. No, not those kind of germs. Most cells in your body are somatic cells. They're destined to be parts of your liver, your lungs, your brains. Their factory setting only allows them to make pretty much just those parts. When they start acting like a zombie and form a tumor, they produce more cells similar to them. Germ cells make up your gametes, your egg cells or your sperm cells, which is why teratomas are most often, although not always, found as ovarian or testicular tumors. But germ cells are special cells that still haven't received that factory setting, and can become pretty much any type of cell in the body. So when they go rogue, they might end up as an eyelash, or a toenail, or brains? Or like an armpit, I guess. Hey, dream big, germ cells. Most of these tumors just have some hair, maybe a tooth. The cases with the more organized organs, like a brain stem, are pretty rare. But there are several documented cases of ovarian teratomas that have so many well-formed body parts that they almost appear to be an actual person, albeit a monstrous one. These are called Fetiform teratomas, but don't get hung up on the name. It's extremely important to note that these are not going to grow into a viable fetus, as they're not the result of a fertilized egg. Without the interaction of the sperm and the egg, it's missing the components to organize into a functioning body. In fact, they quickly become disorganized, so they're more like you put together a Mr. Potato Head in the dark. So since they're not from a fertilized egg, how do these mad scientist-like cells start reproducing into collections of body parts? Early theories suggested everything from having sexual relations with the
devil
to some kind of witchcraft and, my personal favorite, unsatisfied sexual longings. Everyone, please check your villainizing female sexuality bingo board. Who had brought her tumor on herself? Anyone? Bingo! The current scientific theory is that they arise through parthenogenesis, spontaneous reproduction of egg cells. That's right, so-called virgin conception. Now this is quite normal in some species, amphibians, reptiles, some insects, but no mammals, for instance humans, can successfully reproduce this way. Just don't feed them after midnight. Okay? Many teratomas are benign. A surgeon excises it. Maybe puts it in a curiosity jar in a lab somewhere, and it's unlikely to come back. So while they might seem like nightmare fuel, you shouldn't lose any sleep over them. After all, these are monsters that science knows how to control. I can't say the same for everything that goes bump in the night. Thank you for allowing me to haunt your evening. If you'd like to take a darker look down the internet rabbit hole on biological or fictional monsters, the physics of my hairdo, or anything else that keeps you up at night, frighten yourself with the links below.